How do you measure the strength of the U.S. economy? We heard from the Trump administration that a lot of the measures used so far are phony. Will he change his mind once he gets, the first jobs number?
Well, if you look at the fundamentals of the U.S. economy, I think you can see a lot of bright spots. You have seen a great recovery in employment. I think you have steady growth. You had a recovery which was much stronger than in Europe, for example. So I think overall the situation is rather comfortable in which the U.S. economy finds itself. Now, you can always find, obviously, sort of areas of concern, and that's true for every economy. But if you really look at the big macro picture, this is not something that keeps me awake at night.
Moritz, how should the Fed actually look at the data? So we've been told over and over the years that they're data dependent, but now they have this big unknown of Trump economic policies. How do they weigh the two?
I think I didn't hear that quite well, but I think the question was about the Fed. Now, we work under the assumption that the institutional establishment of under which the Fed operates will remain unchanged. Obviously, we have important nominations or replacements coming due in the Fed starting early next year with Mrs. Yellen in particular. But I think it's way too early to actually speculate where this would be going. I think the new administration has not really sort of pronounced itself very explicitly regarding its views on the future operational environment of the Fed. So we are at this point in time not seeing any reason to doubt that the independence of the central bank would be increased or lessened or anything else in the future.
Yeah, Luca, how much is a reset actually for the Fed? The Trump policies. I have a number of economists saying, well, they won't make that much of a difference because the economy is already on a strong path, and others saying, let's wait and see.
No, I think obviously they will make a difference because if you consider what Trump is actually proposing, a fiscal stimulus of more than 1% at a time when the economy is already probably growing above trend, when the unemployment rate is 4.7, well, obviously there is a risk of inflation, but the impact of this fiscal boost will be actually felt next year. So I think the Fed can wait, be sure that inflation is rising, and if inflation overshoot, which is not our view in the next 6 months, they will have to hike more.
Would Donald Trump have to fix productivity, and how does he do that?
Well, that's very difficult. This is not a problem that we've seen in the US. We see the same issue in the UK. It's a global phenomenon. Some economists think this is just a measurement issue. I think it's something more than that, but it will take time. A fiscal boost will not help in a way. It's just a cyclical boost. I think you need to invest in infrastructure, improve education. It's a very, very difficult task, and it's a long-term task. It's not something that can be fixed in the short term with a fiscal stimulus.
Moritz, is there something that actually the Trump administration could do now to try and fix productivity, or is it, as Luca is suggesting, a measurement problem?
I think productivity growth in the longer term is always a question of skills and education, right? And it's a question of organization within companies and modernization of those structures. I think the U.S. is doing fairly well on the latter of those two, where we believe there are clear issues to be addressed, and that's not U.S. specific. Other countries have that as well, but the U.S. may have it more than others. It's really on the education front, where you have one of the best or some of the best sort of educational institutions in the world, undoubtedly, but a large part of the population never gets anywhere near those. So I think this is really a long-term, it's almost a generational issue to bring the skills up to a higher level. And I think once you achieve that, many of the issues that we have been seeing about the growing income inequality will be mitigated. But this is sort of the economic time frame. I think the political time frame is much shorter, and that's why probably other activities and policies will have to be implemented in the meantime, because you just cannot wait for these generational glacial shifts to feed through the system.